great skill are often frustrated by small things. High in the French Alps, there's a patch of snow not 50 yards long called the Col de la Bande. All through training for the Winter Olympics, it has baffled the world's greatest ski racers. Tonight, you'll see them all try it again, this time seeking the gold medal in the great downhill race at Grenoble. It'll be man against the mountain. Jean-Claude Killy, Billy Kidd, and all the rest against the Col de la Bande. From Grenoble, France, by satellite and in color, it's the 10th Winter Olympic Games. Brought to you by Ford and the Better Idea cars. Ford, Fairlane, Mustang, Falcon, Thunderbird. By Goodyear, makers of the new custom wide-tread polyglass tire. By Pan Am, the world's most experienced airline. And by Texaco, makers of Sky Chief gasoline. I'm Jim McCay speaking to you from the Barrows area here high above Grenoble, portions of this part rising almost 7,000 feet in the air. From here today, we're going to bring you what should really be something. A most exciting and dangerous event, the men's downhill race. The favorite, Jean-Claude Killy of France, perhaps the most glamorous figure of these 10th Winter Games. And the sentimental favorite in the United States, Billy Kidd, just recovered from a broken leg and even now suffering from a slightly sprained ankle. This should be, by all odds, the most exciting program we've had so far from the 10th Winter Games, all told, because in addition to the men's downhill, you're going to be seeing 16-year-old Diane Holland of the United States take her shot at a gold medal in women's speed skating, and also the always classic confrontation in ice hockey between the United States and the Soviet Union. So stay with us. Tonight should really be interesting and exciting. Now, as I said, we're in the Barrows area. It's really quite high up here, and you're looking across right now, all the way across the valley, past Grenoble to the Chartreuse range of the French Alps. A magnificent setting, and there you see the city of Grenoble, more than 250,000 inhabitants, nestled down there in the valley. A most exciting and excited place today. The people here have been looking forward to this for, several years now. You can see that there are fairly low and scudding clouds. There's plenty of snow up here. It's overcast. It's kind of damp. There is no snow falling. And where you're looking right now, the wind is not too bad. But up on top, we understand that it is quite windy today with gusts up to 30 or 40 miles an hour. There you can see by that flag that at the top of this run is going to be a problem for the racers, but not bad enough to cancel as we had to do yesterday. Now, here's our men's ski racing expert, Rip McManus. And how about a little more detail on this course, Rip?
Jim, it's cold on top, as you said before. The gusts are 30 to 40 miles an hour. And what this means is that the slope has actually been cleared of any excess snow that fell yesterday. And the racers think it will be very fast in the top half of the course. Down at the bottom, however, we have snowball snow, just like I'm holding in my hand. And this is the type of snow that is great for making snowballs and having a good snowball fight in the States, but it's not the best thing for ski racing. It's slow, and it has a lot of moisture in it, which makes it very tough to wax.
All right, now we can take a closer look at this downhill course. Earlier this week, when the weather was a little bit better than it is today, we had some film made of the course from the top all the way to the bottom. So, Rip, why don't we take a look at that right now and describe this course for the people. Here we are.
Jim, you'll remember this was one of the nice sunny days that we had here. And in fact, the racer's now going to make a right-hand turn in what they call the sundial. The sundial is a right turn and a left turn. There he is in the right turn, picking up his speed now as he's in his tuck, egg position, now making the left turn. This is the turn that Billy Kidd had the bad fall in, and as we found out later, many other racers had quite a few problems there. Now he's making a right turn, which is a long right turn, a very important turn, which leads him into the gully. The speed here is very fast, 60 to 70 miles an hour, which is slowed down quite a bit by this hairpin turn. One of the key gates in this race. On to the dead tree shush. Here again the speed picks up, and over the bump of the rooster. The rooster's bump, as they call it here. Down into the steep section again, and now making three very tough turns. It's a right turn first, there, a left turn, and a right turn, which will lead the racer on to Col de la Bande. And of course, that's where there were some problems. Hopefully there won't be too many today. This is where a pre-jump is really necessary.
Like here?
Just right like there. Exactly. A good pre-jump will be necessary there.
to get in the air before the bump and then land on the downslope instead of on the flat. How fast will they be going as we move into this shush here, Rip?
Into this shush, they should be going 65 to 70. It's really not that fast in this section, but it carries their speed down to the left-hand turn, which will bring them onto this very fast traverse. This is where the racers say the snow is getting soft. And if it does get soft here, this traverse will be tough. After the traverse, it's a right turn down a very steep section here in the trees going to the island. This is where probably the fastest speed will be attained. From here, the racer will go over the Emile LA bumps, 2 bumps near the finish line, and of course on to the finish of the race.
Under the Arrivée, or finish line banner, and that will be it, and we'll be back in a minute with the men's downhill at the 10th Winter Olympic Games. Good one. On the course is the 28-year-old veteran of 10 years of international ski racing, the world giant slalom champion, Guy Perilat of France.
Here's Perilat going into the hairpin turn, which will lead him into the shush of the dead tree. It's very difficult to tell if Perilat is fast. Now here he is in his tuck, going over the bump. Yes, it is fast. You can see that they're catching some air. The first right and the first left turn leading on to Col de la Bombe.
In the starting gate is Edmund Brugmund of Switzerland, a 24-year-old electronics student and the big surprise of this early season so far. Now Perilat again.
Col de la Bombe, and there he goes. They're getting quite a few feet there, Jim. Perilat goes across the flats, which will lead him into the traverse. Perilat looks like he's carrying a fair amount of speed going into the hard traverse.
Here that comes right now.
This may well be the key position of Perilat to hold this tuck as he goes past the traverse and down the steep shush.
Now for the first time he's within sight of the crowd at the bottom of the hill. Guy Perilat of France headed for the finish.
Over the Emile LA bumps, and one more bump and Perilat will be home.
This is number 3.
And now Egon Zimmerman of Italy.
Perilat finishing.
We're now back to Edmund Brugmund of Switzerland.
Edmund Brugmund is in the flats heading towards that hard left traverse, the follow-away traverse.
Out next.
Egon Zimmerman of Italy again.
Looks pretty good, Jim. He's carrying quite a bit of speed and back to Perilat.
And now Edmund Brugmund once again. Right now, as out of the starting gate comes Jean-Daniel Detweiler, another Swiss racer. Detweiler's the fellow who wore the beard last year, doesn't have it this year. Maybe he thinks it...
Malknick really went far in Col de la Bombe, Jim. He must have got 150 feet from that bump.
The Italians flying high because they won the first event of these Olympics, but here again is Detweiler. Streamlined without his field this year, Rip.
Well, he should be in a tuck right about now, Jim. There he is, going into the left turn. The hairpin turn coming on to the straights or the flats of the dead tree shush. Jim, you'll notice the little markers on the side of the course. This is to give the racers some sort of depth perception today because it is overcast.
And as we move back and forth, Brugmund did finish the course. The leader is Guy Perilat in 1:59.93.
At the bottom of the course is
Malknick of Italy. And look at that shot.
Oh, unbelievable. There's another one. Detweiler into the straights, carrying a lot of speed, but he did go a long way on Col de la Bombe. Both bumps, about 80 feet.
Yet to come are all the top racers in this event, the favorites, that is. And now here is Egon Zimmerman, who won the gold medal in this event 4 years ago in Innsbruck, Austria. He has never skied as well since and has been injured a number of times, once very seriously in an automobile accident.
Jim, you'll notice that Zimmerman just cut inside those small markers. That means that the course is very fast in the top section today. When racers do that, there he is again, almost hitting those small flags. The racers do that, it's an indication it's very fast. Zimmerman going into the 3 hard turns.
And now back to the finish in Detweiler again. The time to beat is 1:59.93 by Guy Perilat of France.
And here is Zimmerman coming into Col de la Bombe. Look at that, Jim!
How fast is he going about there?
He must be going 70 miles an hour.
The leader, Guy Perilat of France, yet to come, Jean-Claude Killy, Barrows of Austria, Billy Kidd of the United States. Big ones yet to come in this race.
And Zimmerman goes into the left-hand traverse, the follow-away traverse that is very important today. Zimmerman looks good. He's holding the tuck in this tough traverse. He could pick up some time here, holding that tuck position.
Time to beat 1:59.93 by Guy Perilat. And so far, Detweiler is second, 2 minutes, 32 100ths.
Zimmerman in the final shush area, going over Emile Allais, and the second one now coming into the finish area.
Egon Zimmerman under the arrivée, and here is Franz Vogler, the 6 feet 5 inch West German, who was a big surprise in the World Championships at Portillo, but has not been skiing up to form so far this year.
Let's see if Vogler goes inside. No, he doesn't. He took a different line. He did not go inside those gates on the hairpin turn. Coming into the dead tree shush, Vogler is fast. He's in his tuck position, his egg, and he must be in it today. Now going into the right-hand turn, the 3 turns before Col de la Bombe.
Time to beat is still Guy Perilat, 1:59.93. And here we are down at the finish with Mussner of Italy. 2:02.50. That'll put him down around 4th or 5th at the moment.
Vogler at Col de la Bombe. Vogler had 2 good pre-jumps there, back into his tuck and going across the flats.
Does the fact that he is so tall give him any advantage or disadvantage in downhill?
Well, Jim, I think it's back and forth on that one. It's an advantage.
Here is Joe Mintz of Switzerland. He was red hot just before the last Olympic Games, but since then has not been making too big an impression on the ski beasts of the world.
You'll notice that Minch went inside those little markers. Minch is not one of the greatest skiers in the world to make good turns. He's a high-speed fast skier, but he has trouble turning. Again, very close to the markers today, Jim. Minch has a very good edge, but his turns do lack some finesse.
Coming up next are going to be 3 red-hot Austrians, Messner, Nenning, and Schranz. Now here we are at the bottom of the course
with Franz Vogler.
2:02.94 is not going to be good enough today for Franz Vogler.
Minch at Col de la Bombe. Minch going down the flat, approaching the left-hand turn with a hard traverse.
Fastest time is still the first man who came down this course, Guy Perilat of France. Here is Heini Messner of Austria. This is the fellow who could win it.
Messner is approaching the hairpin turn now.
He was the second best ski racer in the world last year. Perilat is the leader, Detweiler second, and Malkinek third at the moment.
Messner now approaching the Rooster's Bump and going into the very steep section of the course, which will lead him into the 3 turns.
In the gate is Gerhard Nenning of Austria, a confident, relaxed racer. And now we come down to the bottom again to Jos Minch. 2:02.76. Now back up top again at Col de la Bombe.
Messner looks good. He's had 2 good pre-jumps there. He's back into his egg position, going across the flats with a slight turn to the right. He's got to carry a lot of speed here because Perilat does have a very good time. It's under 2 minutes. It will be tough.
Gerhard Nenning now, another Austrian.
It's amazing how relaxed Nenning's been in training, Jim.
He's won 2 big downhill races already this year.
Back to back, and this is the 3rd one for Nenning. He's got to really go down. He's got to go down that mountain very fast today to beat Perilat's time. Back into the egg position now is Nenning, approaching the Rooster's bump.
And now Heine Messner.
He may make it, Jim. He's fast.
He is really fast coming down into the final shush here. Fellow who was the 2nd hottest ski racer in the world last year to Killy. 2:01:03. That's going to put him up among the leaders, but not good enough for first place at the moment. That'll put him in 3rd position behind Detweiler. This is Gerhard Nenning again.
Not too bad, Jimmy had 2 good rides on Col de la Bombe. Again into his egg position, going across the flats, and leading him to the traverse.
Karl Franz of Austria, trying for one of the great comebacks in ski racing history. He had a real bad season last year after having been the top racer in the world.
Kidd.
In the starting gate is Billy Kidd of the United States. This is one of the first really great moments for the United States in the Winter Olympics. And coming under the finish line comes Gerhard Nenning of Austria. And now back up to the Col de la Bombe again. Karl Franz.
In the egg position, going across the flats is Karl Franz. This is the guy with all the strength in the world that will have to go after Perilat today. The Austrians have not broken the French lead yet, and Franz is the last man on the hill that can really do it.
Here is Billy Kidd of the United States, sore ankle and all, making his bid in the downhill.
Jim, it's rough up there, but Kidd is hanging on, and he looks pretty darn good. He's making a right-hand turn now into the hairpin.
This is not Billy's best event, but he is still a fine downhill racer, right?
In the egg position is Kidd, down the dead tree shush, and approaching the Rooster bump.
Franz.
And now down towards the bottom again, Karl Franz. The time to beat is 1:59.93. That's by Guy Perilat of France. The first man down the slope is still the leader.
Kidd.
Franz finishing up, and now back up again to Billy Kidd, coming for Col de la Bombe.
Very good pre-jump there, Jim, and let's see him do another one. Another good pre-jump by Kidd into the egg position, carrying a lot of speed across the flats here. This is very important. Kidd must maintain his speed, carry his speed into the left-hand turn. The Americans have been practicing.
Bernard Orcel now, up on the upper reaches of the course, of France.
Orcel is high. He's into the markers again, just like Perilat.
Billy Kidd again. Karl Franz's time was not good enough for speed.
Billy Kidd coming down past the island, approaching the finish area. Jim, he looks good. His time could be very good.
Perilat is still the leader. Detweiler second, Messner third, and Franz fourth.
And here comes Kidd into the finish area.
Billy Kidd of the United States has made it down 2:03.40. Quite slow, not good enough today for Billy Kidd. Now back up again to Bernard Orcel of France.
Orcel was just putting his landing gear down on the last bump of Col de la Bombe. He's the second Frenchman to come down, and he may have the whack.
Jean-Claude Killy is on your screen. He's the favorite in this race and in all 3 races for the gold medal. Let's see if he can find his teammate, Guy Perilat, leader with 1:59.93.
Killy into the hairpin turn. In there, Jim. He's just fighting like mad. The course is getting a little ruddy now, and Killy's having a little problem holding the egg. But he is holding the egg now. Killy has some speed. You can tell by the distance he got on the Rooster's bump. And now into the 3 turns.
Orcel.
This is Bernard Orcel nearing the end of the Emile bump. So called because they were put into this course to make it a little more difficult by the former great French racer Emile Allais. There's Orcel under the finish and a big cheer from the French crowd. Killy really high there in the air.
Very high. Very high on the first bump. And now going into the straights is Jean-Claude Killy.
The leader, Guy Perilat of France, 1:59.93 his time. Second is Detweiler. Third, Messner of Austria. Fourth, Franz of Austria.
Killy is now coming into the traverse. If we see Killy holding his egg position here, he will be getting some speed, and he is. Very difficult now because of the ruts.
Jean-Claude Killy has been in constant ski racing training since he was 14 years old. That's 10 years and all for right now.
Going past the island, and now approaching the Emile Allais bump. Jim.
What's he have to beat, Jim?
The final should now be trying to beat 159.93. Jean-Claude Killy finishing up the course. 159.85. He's got the lead. An incredible performance that he had to do to beat the 159.93. He got 159.85 and is the leader. A tremendous performance, Rip.
Unbelievable. The French have really done it today.
Jerry Elliott of the United States has fallen.
Jim, it looks like he's broken through the fence there.
He sure has. This snow fence that is to protect the racers. And it looks like Elliott has gone clean through it, but I don't see him right now. There he is. Down
There
in
he
the
is.
snow, that small, dark figure. And here is Jean-Claude Killy and Guy Perilat, who stand 1 and 2 in this competition at the moment. Killy was number 14, and the other number 1 was Perilat. Now, assistance going to Jerry Elliott. It's a difficult place on the course, apparently, Rip, to reach, because only one man has gotten to him so far.
Jim, it looks like that's right at the top of the course, and Elliott went off to the right rather than the left the way Kidd did. But it looks like it's in the same general area.
Jerry not getting up, but we will remember that in the nonstop training when Billy Kidd fell down, he was down for about 5 minutes, appeared to be seriously injured, but as we know was not. So we'll stand by on the condition of Jerry Elliott of the United States. And again, a look at Killy and Perilat. Perilat number 1 on the right, the world giant slalom champion. Killy, the world downhill champion. And it appears the winner of an Olympic gold medal. That's the first time I've seen Killy really smile in a relaxed fashion in about 2 months, Rip.
That's great, though, because he's had the pressure on him, and so have the French, and they've come here.
We'll be back in a minute at the 10th Winter Olympic Games. Here is Jerry Elliott on his feet, and look at that bent ski pole, Rip.
Elliott's walking down, Jim. He may have had a little bit of a problem with his knee. Elliott does have a bad knee, and it looks like he went through the fence. There it is. The
He
fence
sure
is just
did go through
knocked
the
down.
fence. That's going to be a long walk down to where he can get a lift or something for Jerry Elliott.
This, Jim, is the same turn that Billy Kidd fell on. Kidd went to the inside, Elliott went to the outside.
Killy of France is the leader. Perilat of France is second, and Bittweiler of Switzerland is third. Wow.
Well, Valentini, I think, has a jump record today, Jim.
I think that's right. He really put some distance in there. This is Rod Edmund of Canada. Looks like he had kind of a rough start there, didn't it?
Right. Edmund's now in the hairpin. Jim, it looks like it's getting a lot rougher up there. As each racer comes down, it looks like the course is really getting chewed up. You can see Hebron coming close to the markers on his left.
Rod Yogi Hebron from Canada.
It's getting tough now. You can see them getting the air, and the skis are really bouncing. Hebron's now in the egg before Col de la Bombe.
25-year-old ski racer from Vernon, British Columbia. Look out. Ooh. Oh, there he goes.
Hebron is down.
Rod Hebron of Canada, the second man to fall in this downhill race today. The other was Jerry Elliott of the United States. And he's moving his legs okay. It doesn't look like he's... Well, wait a minute. Now you can't really tell.
He's trying to get off the course, Jim. Hebron is one of the strongest guys on this race circuit.
Still having difficulty crawling, and it looks like getting a little bit weaker all the time. You think he might be...
Well, Jim, 2 days ago in practice, Hebron fell here at Col de la Bombe. He hurt his shoulder, he hurt his hand, and the doctors fixed him up and said he was okay to go. But it looks like he may have re-injured his shoulder again.
There's another racer on the course, and he'll have to be careful coming through here. Here he comes. And that is Teresio Vacher of Italy. As you can see, this downhill race Goes right on, although they did stop it for a few minutes after Jerry Elliott went through the snow fence. Let's take a look at exactly what happened to Hebron there in slow motion, Red.
Okay, Jim. He's up high now. He's in a very high body position, coming into Col de Levan. First bump isn't bad, but he went down the hill a long way. And now he's just collapsing almost forward. There he is going forward on his skis. Left ski going out, hanging on to his right ski.
Did he hit into the flat? Was that the problem?
Yes, he went too far and hit into the flat.
What number was that guy?
Down into the snow went Rod Hebron of British Columbia, Canada. We're going to go back up to the top now because here comes Jimmy Moose Barrows of the United States. Moose, who's been injured 2-3 times in the last year, but gee, he heals quick, doesn't he?
Very quick. Here he comes.
A big fella, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, from Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Duncan at Col de Levan. You can see Duncan there just passing his injured teammate, Rod Hebron.
He made it okay. And now here is Jimmy Moose Barrows of the United States.
Look at those skis. It's rough in there, very rough. Into the gully and coming now into the hairpin turn. You see that Moose held his tuck in the gully. He's really trying to carry a lot of speed. Moose wants to have a good race here.
Remember that Jean-Claude Killy of France is leading in his quest for 3 gold medals. It looks like he may have wrapped this one up. Moose Barrows having his bid right now, but would you say it's almost impossible for anybody to catch Killy the way the course is now?
It's very tough now to catch Killy the way the course is deteriorated. It's ruddy. You can see the skis just moving all over the place, and when this happens, you know it's rough. Jim Barrows! Oh, no!
Oh, a terrible fall for South State.
That's genius.
It looked like he landed right on his head and shoulder there. That looks like a bad one for Jim. Moose Barrows not moving at all off the side of the course, the second American racer to fall in the downhill.
Third if you count the nuns.
Jim,
Really
you know what
can't tell it.
happened?
No, what happened there?
I think that Moose went so far off the first bump that he hit the counter slope on the second bump and just, he was like a ricocheted rock just skipping off the top of the second bump. He
Let's
just
take a
went
look
so
at the
far.
motion, Jim.
All right, we have the slow motion rip. Let's see if we can see precisely what happened.
Here he is coming into Col de Levan, and you see he's going a long way down the course. And he's on the his right-hand side. There's another little bump in there, and that throws him down the hill. He's in the air now. Now he's back on his feet again. But he's headed towards that gate. Look at him, he's just collapsing. His whole body is just going right through that gate. Twisted in the air.
Now getting completely out of position. Let's see how he hit to see how bad it might be, Rip.
Oh, this is one of the worst falls I've ever seen, Jim. He's backwards. The racer never wants to fall backwards. He's making a 360. He's trying to recover, Jim, coming right around.
He literally did go 360 degrees in the air. And this is one that you really feel in your stomach a little bit. It looks, as we said, like he landed on his head and possibly a little bit on his shoulder, Rip. One of the toughest of all possible falls for Jim Barrows of the United States, who is still not moving there on the side of the course.
Everyone is right next to him there, Jim.
Right. Two fellas who fell in almost precisely the same spot on the course. We'll be back in a moment for more of our coverage of the 10th Winter Olympic Games. Wow. At the bottom of the hill on the left is Guy Perilat, who finishes second in this race, and on the right, Jean-Claude Killy of France. Jean-Claude, do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Congratulations. Ici Jules McCay, Télévision Américaine.
Thank you very much.
You look very happy, very relaxed. Can you say to your many friends in America what is in your mind now?
Well, of course, I'm very happy to be the winner. You know, it's an Olympic medal, and it's why. And with Perilat second so close, you know, it's a fantastic day for France.
It certainly is a wonderful day for France. Did you have any difficulty at any spot on the course?
Well, it was a very technical course, and we had to stand the line, and so we did.
Did you do Col de la Baume just the way you wanted to?
Yes, I think I passed just where I was going to pass, you know.
Will you give our congratulations also to Guy Perilat?
Okay.
Does Guy hear us?
Yeah,
No, Guy doesn't hear us. Congratulations also. Guy,
yes.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Avez-vous quelques difficultés?
Non, je n'ai pas eu de difficulté. J'avais une très bonne piste en partant premier. Et heureusement, j'avais surtout, c'est la glisse.
Ah oui. Okay.
Pour moi, c'était le plus important.
Oui. Congratulations again, Guy Perilat. He said he had no difficulty. It was a little icy over the top, and that was all.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Guy. Guy Perilat on the left, and the winner, Jean-Claude Killy. A wonderful day for the host country. They sure were smiles of victory, weren't they? Well, as this race has been going on today, our colleague, Robert Rieger, has stationed himself at that place that will go down in ski racing history, the Col de la Baume. Let's go up to Bob right now. Thank you very much, Bob. Robert Rieger's report on that treacherous piece of snow called the Col de la Baume. We have no report at all as yet on the condition of the American racer Jim Barrows, who fell up at that spot. However, we do know that the rescue helicopter is on the scene right now. And now the evacuation helicopter has moved in to try to get Jim Barrows of the United States and Rod Hebron of Canada out of here. As you can see, there is no motion there at all. He has been strapped onto a stretcher. The French have made the most precise and the most elaborate precautions here and arrangements to get injured racers to the hospital as quickly and as safely as possible. Everything in these games has been organized extremely well, and this was one thing that was really thought through. So I can't tell really from here, Rip, whether that is Hebron or Jimmy Barrows, but the two of them, we get the word that it is Jim Barrows, who will be flown now to the hospital in the helicopter. Back here at our commentary position, Rip McManus has just gotten a report on Moose Barrows' condition. What is it, Rip?
Jim, I just talked to Bob Beatty, the coach, and Jim Barrier, the manager, and they say that Moose has either broken his femur, which is the upper bone in the leg, or his hip, and he was in pain.
What about Jerry Elliott, who went through the snow fence and then walked away?
Jerry apparently put on his skis because someone saw him skiing down another trail to Chamroos.
A day then of very mixed emotions for all of us here from the United States. However, from the French point of view, and rightly so, of course, it's a day of glory and utter happiness. The winner of the race, as they had hoped, is Jean-Claude Killy by 8/100ths of a second over his teammate Guy Perilat. Jean-Daniel Detweiler of Switzerland was third. The best American finisher was Billy Kidd, who finished 18th. And now look at this scene of just utter and complete joy on the part of the French. There are their national heroes, Jean-Claude Killy and Guy Perilat, and getting out of here is going to be a long, arduous, but very happy process for these fellas today. Right now, we're going to move to downtown Grenoble, to the ice stadium for the United States against Russia in hockey, and here is Kurt Gowdy. Thank you, Jim. This is Kurt Gowdy here at the Ice Stadium, and you're about to watch a finely honed athletic machine. And a machine it is. It's the Russian national hockey team. 21 years ago, they did not play hockey in Russia. Now over 500,000 are playing the game. And the squad that represents Russia is a team that lives together in the same apartment building, practices, even takes their vacations together. They're together 365 days a year. For precision, you may not have seen anything quite like it. Let's take a look at some of the action today as Russia beat the United States 10-2. The Russians are in dark jerseys, Americans in white. The Russians have won 5 world championships in a row, and they seem to be getting stronger each year, taking advantage of their mammoth national farm system. The U.S. gambled early on a slam-bang style, but they drew 4 penalties in the first 5 minutes. There's a goal that got the Russians underway. When you draw penalties against the Russians, it's suicide. The Russians run 2 miles every morning, practice 4 hours a day when they're not playing. They're required to play soccer on the side. They always seem to be in the right place and could play together blindfolded. Look at this alert play. Beautiful stick. The Russians honestly think they could beat any National Hockey League club. And after watching them, let's just say it would be an interesting match. There is no pro or amateur in Russia. Just one system, the national system, the national hockey team. Their top player, number 11, you're going to be watching here, Antonelli Persov, who scored the hat trick. Here he is, number 11, a quick, hard wrist shot. He has now scored 7 goals in 3 games. Now let's watch it in slow motion. Their passing is almost unbelievable. A perfect feed to Persov, who slams it home. The Americans accomplished one thing in this game. They were the first team to score against the Russians in this Olympic Games. After the first period, the Americans played a creditable game, but it was too late. Here's John Fenner of Boston College to Don Ross of North Dakota U. That's the goal for the Americans, but the Russians win it. The Russians now scored 27 goals in 3 games. They're undefeated. The Americans have lost 3 in a row. The Russians still have Sweden, Canada, and their big one against Czechoslovakia left. So that's the story here from the Ice Stadium. 10-2, Russia beating the United States. And now, let's go to the speed skating rink and Bill Fleming.
Thank you, Kurt. We're speaking to you from the city park of Grenoble. It's called Parc Mistral. It's a playground for children, too. There are swings and merry-go-rounds. There's also a little miniature locomotive that runs through here. It was chosen as the site of the Anneau de Vitesse, the speed skating rink. And at a cost of $3 million, it was built for the 10th Winter Olympic Games. I'm Bill Fleming, speaking to you from ringside. And this seems to be today the chance for the United States to win their first gold medal, because we're going to be watching the 500-meter speed skating for women. Diane Holland of Northbrook, Illinois, is the young lady whom we feel has a great chance to win the gold medal. The United States also has Jenny Fish and Mary Myers entered in this competition. Right now, I ought to explain to you a little bit about how the Olympic speed skating is run. It's run on a rink. 2 competitors at the same time against the clock, and they'll cross over in the backstretch so that each one traverses the same amount of distance, 500 meters. We're set to go, and let's go right now to the first pairs in the competition. And at the start line right now, Sachiko Saito is on the inside lane. Christina Lindblom of Sweden is on the outside. Saito from Japan, Lindblom from Sweden, and they're in the starters' hands. 500 meters, and it's a good start. Now remember, as the 2 skaters get over in the backstretch, if the outside skater is even with the inside skater, it means she's about 12.5 meters ahead. That's the reason of the crossover. Saito of Japan. Now, at any time here, the outside lane may cross over as soon as she reaches that area where you see the line broken. And now, Lindblom of Sweden and Sachiko of Japan as they come down the final 100 meters, and Saito of Japan falls. And here comes Lindblom of Sweden. And the time is 47, having 7/10 seconds for Lindblom, and they're attending now to Sachiko Saito, a 20-year-old student from Hiroshima. Coming off that upper turn, Saito of Japan apparently lost her footing, and as you saw, slammed into the sideboard of the rink. She seems to be all right, but it could very well be that she hurt an ankle. One of the Japanese has picked her up bodily and is taking her to a stretcher. One almost expects things to happen of this nature in bobsledding and in skiing, but you hardly ever see it in speed skating. This event was won by Lydia Skoblakova in 1964. Irina Yegorova of Russia was second, and Tatiana Sidorova of the Soviet Union was third. So the Russians went 1, 2, 3 4 years ago. And Sachiko Saito of Japan is taken from the Anoda Vitesse, the ice skating rink here in Grenoble. We'll be back with more of the action in the 500-meter speed skating for women in just a moment. And next on the rink, the first of the United States hopefuls, Mary Myers, a 22-year-old student at the University of Minnesota. Mary is on the inside. Mary won the World's Championship at 500 meters in '67. On the outside, Sigrid Sundby of Norway. And here we come to 100 meters. She wants to be 11.9, and she is 11.8. A little bit faster than she thought she could do. So keep your eyes on Mary Myers. She was a little bit slow rounding into shape this year. She was 4th in the world a couple of weeks ago, but she's pouring it on now. She felt earlier in the week that she was reaching peak form, making a good turn there, keeping nice and straight on the crossover stride, and here she comes down the home stretch. Mary Myers and Sigrid Sundby. Sundby on the right, in the white. Myers of the United States on the left. Myers coming to the finish line. And she crosses in 46.3. That takes the lead. Mary Myers skating the fastest race of her life. She'd never done better than a 46.5 on this rink right here with a 46.3, and Sundby has a 46.7. So the leader is Mary Myers. And coming up next is the bronze medalist of 1964. Tatiana Sidorova, and USA goes up on the scoreboard in the #1 spot right now. And now the hopes of the Russians rest on Ludmila Titova, the current world's champion. She's skating with Masai Takeda from Hokkaido, Japan, in the white sweater on the inside, Titova on the outside. Titova won the world's championship in Helsinki at 46.2. She has redeveloped greatly in the last year, hoping to take up where Lydia Skoblakova left off. Skoblakova not racing in the 500 this year, but she will be in the 1,000. Here she comes through at 100. That is exactly 11.8, the same time posted by Mary Myers. The question will be, can Titova finish with a greater burst and more skate at the end? She'll cross over to the inside. Great stride. Look at those thighs. Beautiful crossover stride, keeping straight as an arrow. That's the secret to speed skating, not losing the track, not swaying outside an imaginary track down the ice. And here she comes, Titova with a big lead over the Japanese girl. She has to beat a 46.3. She does it, 46.1. Ludmila Titova has taken the lead by 0.2 of a second over Mary Myers. And there is Diane Holland of Northbrook, Illinois, and she will be coming up next. And I wonder what her thoughts are right now. She has to beat a 46.1. We'll be back for that race in just a moment. And here is Diane Holland, 16 years old, and she knows now what she has to shoot for. A 46.1 set by Ludmila Titova. She was beaten by Titova by a 1/10 of a second at Helsinki. And now she has to do a 46 flat in order to take the lead. Diane has trained harder for this Olympics than probably any woman speed skater in United States history anyway. She's considered to be the best ever produced by the United States, and she's only 16 years old. She first began skating at the age of 4. And through the inspiration of her parents and the many speed skating friends she has, she now has come to the pinnacle. And she's skating with Christine Keizer of Holland. You can imagine now there is a tremendous amount of tension because the start has to be just right. We'll keep in mind that 11.8 was the pace-setting time set by Titova at 100 meters. And we'll check very carefully as Diane goes through 100 meters. She has a tendency to go a little bit fast in the first 100. It's a tendency that she feels she has to conquer in order to have that staying power for the last 100 meters, which can be brutal. Surprisingly enough, in a 500-meter race, there is pacing involved. Back at the line again, and it's a good start. Diane Holland gets a good start on the inside lane. Christine Keizer of Holland is in the outside. Diane digging hard as she comes to 100 meters. Comes through at 11.6. That's 0.2 of a second better than Titova did. But remember, I said earlier, she has a tendency to go a little bit fast in the first 100 meters. The question will be, can she stay? Does she have the power and the drive? She certainly has the willpower and the mental discipline to do it. Here she comes around the final turn. Keep your eye on that clock. The time to beat is 46.1. Down the home stretch. Pulling hard now against the wind. Diane Holland, she sees the finish line. She's there in 46.3, not good enough, but it does tie Mary Myers. And so the United States still is deadlocked for that silver medal. And the leader still is Ludmila Titova of the Soviet Union. A disappointment to Diane, but a marvelous effort. But consider this, that Skoblikova, Egorova, and Sidorova took 1, 2, and 3 4 years ago. And right now, the United States has moved up into a tie for second place. So if they can hold that mark, they will win 2 medals here, which would really be an astounding feat. Approaching the starting line now is Jenny Fish of the United States on the inside, and Irina Egorova, who won a silver medal in 1964 on the outside. Incidentally, Jenny Fish is at the start line today in place of Jeannie Ashworth. Jeannie Ashworth, who was felt by Coach Ken Henry, was not skating quite up to par. She'd been feeling ill in Helsinki, finished 13th there, and so he pulled her out of the 500 meters, but she will be in the 1,000 meters and the 1,500 meters. So here's a great opportunity now for young Jenny Fish. Jeannie Ashworth, incidentally, was the only previous medal winner in speed skating for the United States. She won a bronze in 60. Here we go. It's a good start. Keep your eye on Jenny Fish. She's one of our real hopefuls, and she's skating against a silver medalist from the Soviet Union. Here they come. And going across first is Jenny Fish of the United States at 12 flat. Jenny Fish skating very strong here in this cold, dusty wind morning. Irina Egorova, who's had a lot of experience coming around the final turn. Jenny Fish being cheered on by a great American contingent here. She's on the outside and she's beating Egorova. Here they come. And it is 46.3. Imagine that. Fantastic. She has tied Mary Myers and Diane Holland. A 3-way tie. 3 United States girls posting exactly the same time. Oh, there are many stories that are going to come out of the 10th Winter Olympic Games, but I tell you, this speed skating story of the United States women is going to be headline material. And Ken Henry, the coach of the United States team, must be delirious right now. There's Diane Holland and Mary Myers, and they're congratulating Jenny Fish, who really had a tremendous final 400 meters. We'll be back to talk to our 3 silver medal winners in just a moment from Grenoble, France. you right now are the three young ladies who have made Olympic history. Never before has there been a three-way tie. Have you ever been happier?
No, I don't think so.
Jenny, you have to be the surprise, too, because you were a last-minute replacement. How do you feel?
Oh, just great right now.
You think you had it? Boy, you were really pulling down that last 100 meters.
Oh, I don't know. I just felt wonderful.
And how about you, Diane? Face the camera right over here. Everybody in Northbrook, Illinois wants to see you. You went out at 11:06. That was pretty fast.
Yeah, a little too fast. I died at the end, I think. Yeah. I think if I would have held off a little, I would have finished stronger.
What was your reaction when you saw Jenny come back at the last 100 meters? Did you realize she was going as fast as she was?
I thought she was going to beat us.
Did you really?
Yes. I was so surprised to see it tie. I just couldn't believe it. Only thing I wish was that we all got first.
Well, I'll tell you this, you all got silver medals, and it really is a fantastic feat. I hope we're not run over here by the ice. Everybody's excited here at Grenoble. But I think the one thing we have to say is when you look up at that scoreboard and you see the United States three-way tie for second with 46 threes, we all have to be very, very proud. Mary, I know that I talked to you yesterday, and you felt that you had to be in the low 46s in order to do anything. You went out first. You had a 46-3. It looked for a while like it was really going to hold up.
I had a bad last corner. I didn't feel like...
Did you really?
Yeah. I took it too wide. I didn't feel like it was as good a race as it could have been. But it was okay.
It sure was. And we're all very, very proud of you. Jenny, I think everybody in Strongsville, Ohio is going to be very, very pleased with the results of this. Had you felt this strong up until the Olympics?
Not until Monday. I felt good Monday, and then from then on I felt pretty good after that international meet we had here.
Well, as you can imagine, it is all bedlam down here because this truly has been the story so far of the 10th Winter Olympic Games in Grenoble. An unprecedented three-way tie for second place by the American girls in the 500 meters. And just take a look at that scoreboard. Ludmila Titova of the Soviet Union winning the gold medal. There will be no bronze medal this year, but 3 silvers to the United States. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Drew Norwich. The 10th Winter Olympic Games have been produced today by Chuck Howard, Ned Steckel and Chet Forty, and directed by Andy Sedaris, Mac Hemian, Marvin Schlenker, and William Bellington. Timings for the men's downhill segment provided by Omega Watches. Tonight I'll be back with you to recap the day's events and bring you up-to-date team totals. That's tonight at 11:15, 10:15 Central Time on ABC. And remember, tomorrow afternoon we have 2 shows for you at 3 o'clock and at 6:30 Eastern Time. At 3, you'll see Peggy Fleming attempt to win a gold medal for the United States in the Ladies Figure Skating Championship, which will come to you live via satellite from here in Grenoble. Also tomorrow, on our coverage of the 10th Winter Olympics, it'll be exciting alpine skiing in the ladies downhill and the 70-meter combined ski jump. We'll complete a total day of sports excitement with ABC's Wide World of Sports, tomorrow featuring the International Cross-Country Motorcycle Championships from California and the North American Luge Championships from Quebec. The 10th Winter Olympic Games, brought to you in color by a satellite, by Ford and the better idea cars, Ford, Fairlane, Mustang, Falcon, Thunderbird. By the packaging men at Reynolds. Reynolds, where new ideas bring you better packaging. And by State Farm Mutual, the world's largest car insurance company. This has been an ABC Sports exclusive presentation.